For the foreseeable future, I won't be climbing in my gym or outside. I'm still going to try and film climbing-related content during this very weird time we're living in, but in case anyone was curious, I'd like to share what I do on a non-climbing, non-work day. Every day, I walk my dog Zelda around the neighborhood. If I'm by myself, I'll listen to the day's episode of The Daily or my local NPR station, just to make sure the world hasn't completely burned down yet. When I get home, I'll try to work on some Gen Sen stuff, and on this day, I was editing a video for my Patreon. Depending on how long and how interesting I want the video to be, it can take anywhere between like 4 and 12 hours to edit it. The very brief overview of how it's done is usually I just drag all the clips onto the timeline and then I cut it up. And that's like the rough cut. And then after I lay all of the kind of groundwork, that's when I go into what I call like the embellishment phase. Like a lot of the flourishes, a lot of the text, a lot of the little funny edits. Let's see how far I can get in like the 2-ish hours before I want to eat lunch. What you just saw was 30 minutes of work, and I'm currently at 1 minute and 30 seconds out of a 18-minute long video. I think I'm gonna give this another hour or so and hopefully approach the halfway point on this video. Can you tell that I stress cut my bangs? After I edited half of my video, I ate some leftover pizza. #quarantining, #self-isolation. Then, upon realizing I had no more desire to do my monetized hobby, I decided to move on to some unmonetized hobbies instead. I've always liked to create things, and working with clay and doing crafts is a great way for me to keep my hands busy, now that they can't pull in plastic rocks anymore. I decided I'd try and make 2 pins, one inspired by the eye/light bulb in Picasso's Guernica, which I never finished because it looked so bad, and a kombucha bottle, 2 very related things. Here I am smoothing the pin into the general shape of a kombucha bottle and making it smooth and pretty before I bake it. Since the clay has to bake for 15 minutes and cool for like an hour, I decided that it would be a great time to get some cardio in. I started to jump rope outside before moving inside because I got bored not watching anything. I looked into some home climbing training videos and was happy to see a video on the subject from one of my favorite channels.
I'm only very slightly obsessed with Nathan's channel. If you watched my most recent outdoor videos, I lifted one edit that I saw from Nathan's channel and I adapted it to my own. He posted a really good video on how to train at home during the coronavirus for climbers, and I highly recommend that you watch it. I will link it over here. Mad respect to you, Nathan, because this is an awesome video and it's very useful.
After the pins cooled, it was time for the most stressful part, painting them. I've never taken a painting class before, so I was truly just winging it, trying to adapt a simple design from my favorite kombucha flavor, Watermelon Wonder from GT's Kombucha. After I was somewhat okay with what I painted, I gave the pin a layer of resin, which gives it a really nice glossy finish. I cure the resin using a UV lamp used for setting gel nail polish. The pins are usually done once I let them sit in a sunny window for a day to remove the tackiness and are ready to wear once I attach a pin back.
Ho ho ho. What have we here?
I then got a very special package from Frictitious Climbing containing their easy board. Immediately after, I got it stuck in a tree and I realized that I was neither good at instability training nor finding good places to hang this thing. Before it got too dark out, I helped screen print a shirt for Martin. He's been thinking about selling shirts with his designs on them, but we're both currently just trying to figure out how to print them. This one turned out great, I think. Next, I rewatched Nathan's training video for some training inspiration. I ended up doing 10 of these single leg lunge things on each leg. Next up were some glute bridges, but I was told not to include them in this video because I look embarrassing doing them. Next up were some horizontal pull-ups. These were a lot of fun. I repeated a couple sets of 10 reps, trying to keep my body as straight as possible. Once my body was somewhat warm, I moved on to hangboarding. I warmed up my hands while doing some scapular pull-ups and leg raises. I then did a couple sets of one-arm hangs as final preparation for some fingery hangs. Why did I say it like that? I do some hangboard repeaters on a variety of different edges, including that little secret sloper at the top of the hangboard. In between, I rest for a really long time. I set a timer and spend my breaks doing some virtual climbing, playing a game that I literally named my dog after. After my training, I watched Knives Out and decided to throw my camera across the Pacific Ocean, apparently, since that was all the footage I got from my day. That is basically the end of the video. If you got what you came for, you're excused and you can go. If you're still eager to consume more quarantine climbing content, I am actively trying to update a playlist of different videos from different creators that I think are really useful for climbing related content during quarantine season. So check that out if you want to peace out from this video. I'm gonna go on kind of like a rambly sort of free association stream of consciousness segment of the video, and I'm not gonna do any edits over it or anything. During this time, I was supposed to be on my gap year traveling the world, which obviously can't happen anymore, and initially I felt like that was a really unlucky situation, when in reality I am extremely lucky and extremely privileged to have saved up that money in anticipation of going and traveling. So I am able to not work right now and stay with my family during this time where I was supposed to be traveling. So I was able to feel sorry for myself for about 0.5 seconds before realizing that I was in a really fortunate position and I shouldn't feel badly about it. Speaking of privilege and feeling sorry for oneself, another one of my reactions obviously was I'm not gonna have access to my climbing gym for probably a couple of months, and who knows how long that this quarantine is going to last here in Los Angeles. But once I realized how big of a problem that was in the grand scheme of all of the problems that center around this pandemic, whether it be people literally dying, people losing their jobs, people not being able to support themselves, people getting sick, their loved ones getting sick, I realized that even though my negative emotions associated with not being able to climb are valid, it just kind of put things in perspective for me. I know that if you're watching this channel, that climbing obviously means a lot to you and it matters to you, and no one can take that away from you. I've been really proud of the people who are making the best of the situation and are filming weekly workouts and who are giving their best quarantine tips. What I don't want to do right now is any fear-mongering or anything honestly dramatic enough to be close to that. I think that you should limit the amount of time you spend outside of your home. Obviously, there are some people in a position where they can't do that, but if you are in a position where you're considering outdoor recreation and climbing, I think that it's perfectly fine to go outside and get some fresh air. But my stance on climbing outdoors is to not, because when you're climbing outside, you are touching the holds with your hands, and the virus has been shown to survive for extended periods of time on hard surfaces. You're putting your hands in places where other people will come in contact with them because there are only certain positions on the outdoor route where your hands are going to be. Even if you are not worried about yourself getting sick or getting another healthy climber sick, just understand that you can still be a vector of disease, and whether or not you want to be implicated in the spread of a disease to a potentially vulnerable human is, I guess, something that you have to wrestle with. During the entirety of my YouTube career journey, I have made it a point to be as likable and to not upset or offend anybody in any sort of way. But I just think that it's so important right now to tell you guys, even though some of you might not want to hear it, to please stay home and please do not climb outside. I think the best thing for us to do at this point, March 27th, 2020, is just
to stay home, stay safe, limit exposure, socially isolate from one another. And that's kind of all I really wanted to say. Thank you to anyone who stuck through that kind of weird rant. But that's pretty much it. Sorry if that was a huge bummer. I'm gonna try and like lighten the mood now a little bit. If you want your mood lightened a bit, I probably will insert some like end cards here of like other videos to watch. This is just kind of like my routine for ending a video, to like let you guys know that this thing is like tying itself up and coming to an end. So thanks for sticking through the entirety of this video if you're here. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one very soon. All right, bye.